Good morning, everybody. It's 7:30 in the morning. It's no 7:45. 7:45 on May 11th, 2025. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of videos, of course, lately, as you all know, those of you that watch my videos, about the May 9th victory parade, before and after, and fallout, all this sort of stuff. All very fascinating. And it is like the veil has lifted on the West to show that a lot of them are either definitely purely Nazis or else they are Nazi sympathizers. No doubt about that. You know. And anyway, let's see. They have lately come out, the West is coming out with, it's like Trump and Zelensky. I don't know who's the one that first started hatching this old plot up, but it's just another version of the Minsk agreements, which was used to trick Russia, and they're trying to trick Russia again. And I put out this video just some days ago that Trump is actually, I was meaning he has fooled us, but I think I put it in capital letters, so it looks like Trump has fooled the US. Well, he's fooled the US too. He's been fooling a lot of people, and it's very clear, and it's definitely obvious. As I said, you got to listen to the words of Jesus, know them by their fruits, know what they are doing. Don't pay that much attention to what they are saying. And Donald Trump acts like he's sort of a neutral party and he's not on any side. But why is he then sending money and weapons to Ukraine? And Lavrov said weapons arrive every day from the United States to Ukraine. And he said he wants to end the conflict, Donald Trump. But it's very easy. To me, when I was hearing him say that, even before he took office in presidency, I was thinking, okay, then he's going to cut off sending all the money and the weapons to Ukraine. That's the way to solve it. If you don't cut that off, it's going to keep continuing. The war's going to keep on going, And he hasn't cut it off, so it makes it very obvious. It's not like Donald Trump is a completely and totally other stupid guy, because a lot of people have been talking about that all the time. You cut off the weapons, it stops. It's sort of like during the Obama times, and maybe even Obama and his constant wars all over the place. Well, keeping wars going. And in effect, you got to think, well, Joe Biden didn't really start any new wars while he was the president. Of course, he was responsible for the wars when he was vice president, especially in Ukraine. And he definitely didn't want to stop these wars because he's making a lot of money. The whole thing, as you know, is to fleece the American taxpayer. The whole thing about Israel is to fleece the American taxpayer and put lots of money into the pockets of American politicians and Israelis. They are all getting filthy, filthy rich from that. And of course, the politicians also use a substantial amount of that, obviously, is for their political campaigns. It's a big money laundering scheme, the whole thing about Israel. So why would any politicians, if they appreciated humanity at all, why would they want to further Israel's desire? I'm talking about the Israeli government, especially Netanyahu, to kill tens of thousands of people, innocent people, mostly children. Is it because they're nice guys? Do nice guys kill children? And Trump is going around acting like he is, I want to stop the killing, but yet he's probably a bigger contributor to Israel's killing of innocent people than even Biden. I don't know, maybe it's similar. They're laughing at this doc that Joe Biden put up. It lasted, a month? It cost many millions and millions of dollars, and it didn't last for very long. All that doc was ever used for was for ships to deliver weapons to Ukraine. It had nothing to do with any humanitarian supplies coming to the Palestinians, because they have evidence, they have videos of ships coming and offloading weapons onto that. So we're all getting fooled. It's not just Donald Trump. They're fooling us for a long, long, long time. But everybody that watches this, you guys know that. This is nothing but a dog and pony show of fake crap going on all over the place. And it kind of makes me sick, and that's the main reason why I make these videos. And when I was in the military, I saw a lot of this. And then they talk something while they're doing something else. Oh, we love humanity. Here, take this knife in your belly. Stuff like that. I don't know. I saw a video I don't know if you guys ever saw that video. It's somebody, I don't know who made it. It was they had somebody in riot gear hitting a club on somebody laying on the ground. We're here to help you. So, I don't know. How many times have you seen that? And it's not just like just George Floyd. George Floyd was a drug addict and all that. And of course, he would not cooperate. He was just faking it, not even realizing. Anybody that watches the videos of George Floyd, if you saw all of them, he was, and they're trying to make him out like the new Jesus. Oh, but anyway. So, the West has proposed. Where can I walk? The West has proposed this. Let me go over this way. Walk through the grass. Yes, walking through the grass. As you know how it goes. Some guy, I don't know what he's doing. I wish I was a caterpillar, walking through the grass. I'd climb up in the highest trees and slide down on my hands and knees. You guys know that one. Anyway, this 30-day ceasefire is nothing but just a bunch of fake stuff. And if you hear, well, did I write that here? When did I write that? Okay. So, and they also admit they're going to continue to send the weapons to Ukraine. So it's a 30-day ceasefire. And Macron, he came right out and specifically said it. He's going to continue, even during the ceasefire, sending weapons loads to Ukraine. Merz, of course, came out a day or two ago. He's going to keep sending them in secret. Donald Trump, of course, he was thinking that was secret anyway before. But, and then they put out this fake thing that all the weapons shipments, I reported that even, that the ships that had weapons on them, they mid-ocean, they turned back and went back to the United States. And it's like, wow, I was fooled on that one too. They never stopped. So Donald Trump never stopped the weapons supply. He never cut off any aid. So a lot of what Donald Trump is doing is nothing but a big scam, obviously. So you guys shouldn't be fooled either. And now, of course, they're threatening Russia with more sanctions from hell, the 17th round of sanctions. And what else? All kinds of things. If Russia does not do what they tell them to do. Russia, you must do what we order you to do. And of course, Russia floated that 3-day ceasefire, which is now over, by the way. And Ukraine didn't obey it. I think, 9,000 times? And Ukraine launched 4 attacks. And matter of fact, Putin came up with some statistics. I have it down here. Putin said Kiev launched 524 drone attacks during that ceasefire. And of course, they tried to invade Russia 4 times during that ceasefire. And Russia put out, they said it was a test to see if they could obey a 3-day ceasefire. If they can't obey a 3-day ceasefire, he said that it could even be extended. It could be extended for 30 days. But of course, that was not put out. That was not put out in the West. That Russia said, oh, we can extend that, but start off with the 3 days. And if they actually obey that ceasefire, then they can keep on extending it. And they know fully well that the ceasefire will be used by Ukraine and the West to do nothing else but resupply. And they've even admitted it. I just now said that. Merz, of course, said he's going to send them in secret. Donald Trump has never stopped. So I really don't know why Russia would do that. Maybe they knew that this would not happen, that there would not be a ceasefire on the side of Ukraine. So let's see. Okay, and I'll tell you what. Got a hair in my mouth. If you heard lately Ursula von der Leyen talking about we have to make, I don't know if people are sleeping in these, probably have sleeper cars, some of these things. We have to expedite Ukraine coming into the EU. And of course they have plans because Hungary said that would be the worst thing possible. It would bankrupt the EU. Ukraine has, they were maybe one main reason why the Soviet Union went bankrupt. I put out already a video, and I'll keep saying this because I've heard that from so many sources for decades, that, Ukraine is nothing. It's but like a vacuum cleaner that sucks money. and I said a big sucking sound. Money, it's just sucking the money. They want to suck the money out of everybody. There's money, and there's fabulously rich people in Ukraine, and huge corruption. Everybody knows that. The West even admitted it. It's extremely corrupt. And these people, unfortunately, a lot of the society of Ukraine, and I'm not saying everybody, but obviously not, but it's a culture, unfortunately, and they've grown up with corruption. Even those maybe that don't even think they're corrupt, don't know they're corrupt, but they know that there's corruption in the country. I think a lot of them, that when they move even to the European countries, they slowly find out, in comparison to how the people in these other countries, such as Belarus, they're finding out that they certainly indeed are corrupt, because they've had to live like that, and they lived like that for probably an entire generation. I don't know when that started. Maybe it's even for a century. You know, I'm not so familiar. I just know that it has been happened for many decades, even when the Soviet Union existed. Lots of corruption in Ukraine. And I told you guys before in a video that when I was thinking, oh yeah, maybe move over here to this side, and this, I'm telling you, this was like 20 years ago. And people say, no, you don't want to go to Ukraine. Don't go to Ukraine. You don't want to go there. It's very corrupt. It's nothing like anything you think it is. So anyway, that being said, and another thing, what I was really going to put out, I'm talking about Ursula von der Leyen and a lot of these other jokers. And she wants to expedite Ukraine into the European Union. And of course, they all know, and Rutte, the head of NATO, he's pretty much even admitting that there is no real plan to put Ukraine into NATO. But I'll tell you what they're going to do. And even Ursula von der Leyen, she used to be the Minister of Defense, as you know, of Germany, and she did a terrible job. She really degraded Germany's defense, and that's maybe one reason why they're I don't know if you call it a military or a shame. The place is a shame right now. But what I think the plan is, I'll tell you what, I'm almost sure, because you've heard these rumblings about having a European army. So what is going to happen? They're going to somehow disband NATO. They're going to have a European army, European military, and of course the step before that, a pre-step, is to get Ukraine into the EU. So then automatically here you have a big military alliance that includes Ukraine, and the sucking sound will already be started, of course, once Ukraine gets into the EU anyway. But then they will have their help, and at least they're hoping that they're going to start sending all kinds of troops from all these different nations to fight against Russia. And of course, you guys know, but the deal is they're trying to pass this off to the European people. And because these politicians, they know they're not going to go fight. They know that their family isn't going to fight. The Ukrainian politicians, their kids are not fighting over there. Israel's, you know, the top people of Israel, their kids are not fighting in any wars against Palestine. They know that they're all safe, and they're just getting a lot of money, because that's what it's all about. It's all about making money, and they're going to be safe. So the whole deal is to get their people to die for them to put money into their bank accounts. They don't really give a crap about their countries. They don't have a crap about their peoples. You know, they just get up there, and just like I was talking yesterday when you had this member of parliament from Slovakia, he was talking about how these people, you know, are deceiving. He's a high politician in Slovakia. I think he's the deputy leader of Fico's party. And these people are fascists, but they just don't want to admit it. And they don't really care about their people. They'll send them to the slaughter. They just like Zelensky. Maybe that's why they love Zelensky, because he was able to send literally hundreds of thousands of his people to get slaughtered against the Russians. You know, maybe in hopes, you know, even if they lose 20 Ukrainians or 10 Ukrainians, whatever the number might be, to just kill one Russian. So they're going to just keep on, you know, and then at the same time they get to reduce the world's population, which is part of the globalist view. Oh, actually, maybe I shouldn't be here. I don't know. This is a police academy area. So, I don't know. What do I do? Let me go back the other way. I can walk past there. It's actually a lot nicer, probably more quiet. But I won't do that. I don't want to have somebody come out and say something. What are you filming here for? Not that I'm not allowed, but they might want to know. So I tell you what, and you might just see that. And don't say that I had a crystal ball because it's in the shop, but I think that that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to create a European army, military. And yeah, they're bragging. It just comes to mind. Zelensky coming up. We'll have a ceasefire, land, sea, and air for 30 days, and all that sort of thing. Trying to sound really grand, and and you got Merz and all that over there. So they have all these people, because they're so pissed off, as I said, about that parade on May 9th, that they have to come up with something. So they came up with this. Everybody got over there. What did they do? I don't know, they flew to Lvov, and then they jumped on a train, and then they went to Kiev, and talking to Donald Trump on the telephone, saying, here's a way we can take back the attention that Russia got for having this May 9th celebration. And of course, a lot of these other cities in the former Soviet Union, they had also very grand celebrations as well. And yeah, it makes you really wonder. Like I said, first one, they had American soldiers there in the first celebration right after World War II, which was held, I guess, on June 24th, even though the war ended on May 9th, I guess. But they needed time to bring these people and the soldiers and all. Can you imagine? They didn't have that much time to practice their drill and ceremony. But anyway, they had that parade, and it was really big in 1945, I believe. Yeah, 1945. And yeah, and now the West has turned against Russia, and now they don't celebrate the defeat of the Nazis. It's like when you saw Moldova, it's a day of sadness because their people lost, their Nazis. And what more do you need when they're laying these wreaths at the soldiers, or at these graves, mourning the loss? And of course, like I said, in Moldova, they're trying to say that the Nazis were the liberators. Incredible. And the bad guys were the Soviet Union. How dare they liberate us? I don't know what they say. And of course, like I said also yesterday, they're making the textbooks. The textbooks have the Nazis as the good guys. They're raising children that way. It's just like what they did in Ukraine. They've been doing in Ukraine, certain parts of Ukraine actually, and it's been spreading all over the place, even to the Donbass area. When, like Mike Jones, when he was before he was kicked off of YouTube and wherever else, he was there. And when the Russian soldiers, he went to there, and they were showing him textbooks where they're saying all this stuff, bad stuff about Russians and all of the fake history and things like that. So anyway, it's been exposed a lot of the time. And how could they have these textbooks and all these children's books in print of saying all of these fantasies and all this stuff that's fake? And I talk about that many times, so I won't say it again, what some of that fake stuff is. And let's see what else here. Iran, the foreign ministry, Aragachi, I believe his name, sounds Japanese, but he's the foreign minister. And what I put out, and anybody that follows news knows, is that Iran is not making a nuclear bomb. They have no desire to make a nuclear bomb. I think they realize that would be far more trouble to have a nuclear bomb or to be making one than it would be to not have one. Because I think they probably go from the premise that anybody who uses a nuclear bomb is going to be the bad guy no matter what. And if they have nuclear bombs, which there's a big charade trying to make it look like that they want one, which they don't. And they know that, so they'd have no plans to have a nuclear bomb. They did have a program, I guess, a long time ago, and they stopped it. And Benjamin Netanyahu has been insisting for many, many decades, since the 1980s, Iran is 2 weeks away from a nuclear bomb. I've said that so many times. And of course, he convinced Donald Trump. Donald Trump, whether he does believe it or not, he'll go along with anything that Israel tells him to go along with. Donald Trump's, unfortunately, he's a tough guy in a lot of times, but when it comes to Israel, he is the biggest wimp on planet Earth. He does anything that Israel wants him to do. And of course, he's trying to somehow engineer now some way to destroy Iran. And I don't know if it's going to be militarily. He wants to be known as the peace president, but he's of course already was bombing the crap out of Yemen, and I guess he figured out these people are not going to give up. He can just keep. He was bombing them to smithereens, costing billions of dollars, billions. You know, they talk about saving these millions here and there in the United States with Elon Musk's thing and this program and what is it called? This U.S. aid and all that sort of thing. Saving millions, but then they're spending billions by bombing Yemen, and he probably started to realize, hey, this does not really set a good picture. So he stopped doing that, and I don't know, he made some sort of a deal, and Yemen, they don't have any designs necessarily against the United States anyway, and they never did. It was all because the United States mixed themselves in there because, like I said, Donald Trump, and of course, most of the government in the United States, they're totally subservient to Israel. They'll do anything Israel wants because of the big money laundering scheme. You know, the billions that the United States, you know, has allocated to Israel, and a lot of it comes back to buy the politicians. So it's a fantastic money scheme, and nobody's supposed to ever be talking about it because it works so well, and it has worked so well. And maybe that's the 4 billion, but of course, like I said, it's probably at least 8 billion that goes to Israel every year. It's only the 4 billion that is administratively on paper, but there's lots and lots and lots of money and things going to Israel all the time. And I guess, I don't know, Israel, they should be able to take care of themselves, but I don't know. I think probably a lot of corruption there too. But anyway, they said they have, he's the foreign minister, I guess he gave us, I don't know if that was in, I don't know if he was in Moscow, but he said weapons of mass destruction have no place in Iran's arsenal. And one of the main things the United States, and obviously at the request of Israel, one of the things that it is to stop the Iranian missile program because they're very good, and they're actually making some very good weapons. And Israel doesn't like it, which means the United States doesn't like it because, you know, it's... In truth, the United States is the puppet of Israel. It's not the other way around. So, very strange. You guys all know this stuff if you've been watching these things since even the 1970s when it was all very strange. What is this all about? Why is Israel so important? But anyway, the special relationship. And yeah, and if Donald Trump wants to stop spending so much money, it makes you really wonder, well, why doesn't he just stop all this with Israel? Stop giving them. But of course, he can't do that because he'll be probably assassinated, or he'll be taken out of office. He'll be impeached immediately because that's a huge money line for all the most corrupt politicians on the planet in the United States government that are getting this money, you know, through the Israeli lobby and the whole circuit there. Really and terrible. Everybody really knows it. It doesn't take much thinking to see what's going on. But anyhow, so let's keep going here. Putin's truce is over, as I said, and well, I don't know. I already talked about the fact that Trump could actually end these wars. I started out with that. I was writing it down here. Mentioned all these drone attacks and everything. One of the things that Putin said, I don't know if it was early this morning or if it was late yesterday, probably, because he had meetings even up till midnight yesterday with all these world leaders, so they're still happening, I guess they said. And he was talking about, you know, who is Ukraine trying to intimidate? Who are they trying to scare with these drone attacks and all of this stuff? And, you know, the words of Zelensky saying he cannot guarantee the safety of this parade. And everybody knows that he was trying to scare somebody. And I guess what it was is he's trying to stop these world leaders from going to this May 9th thing and said, oh, Zelensky, you know, he's been launching all these drone attacks, you know, constantly. We're not supposed to be talking about that because it's not in the American press, and nobody wants everybody to know about that they're killing all these civilians and they're terrorist attacks all over the place every single day. So shh. And but anyway, these world leaders already know it, and that was that veiled threat by Zelensky. You know, like he's basically saying, yeah, we're doing all these terrorist attacks, and yeah, if you go to that parade, you know, I can't guarantee your safety. So that's what that was all about. And yeah, Putin said, who were they trying to intimidate? Probably Budanov and all of these Nazis that are over there. And also, Putin just put out something, and it'll probably be ignored in the West, of course. But apparently, I don't know, I don't really know if there's some sort of something going on in Turkey, but on the 15th, a few days from now, that Putin said he suggested direct talks with Ukraine starting on Thursday, May 15th in Istanbul. And like I said, it'll probably be ignored. Zelensky won't do it. Zelensky really doesn't want peace, as you guys know. He wants, just like the West, he is a willing puppet and said, I will send more. I will start rounding up thousands, tens of thousands of more people, hundreds of thousands more of my own people to die in the meat grinder to preserve Nazis. I mean, to defend Ukraine. And as I said, that minister of Slovakia, he was mentioning yesterday that these people in Europe, they are Nazis. They are Nazis. You know, they love Nazism. They just love it. They want the extermination, if they possibly could, of Russians, just like Lindsey Graham. Oh, yeah. But he's not a Nazi, even if he wants all Russians killed. And of course, Zelensky, he virtually said he wants Russians to be exterminated as well. He said he hates, he said it's not even 90, he said this, not even 99.9%. And of course, he calls Russians species, that they are not even human beings. So, you know, and it's just like what the Israelis, a lot of them say. And of course, a lot of this, at least they've learned the lesson and they've toned that down by calling, I think they were calling the Palestinians vermin and not human beings or something. And I think they were like, it's kind of like in the United States when they're saying like black people were 3/4 of a person. And I guess that was written in the Constitution even. They're 3/4 of a human. Well, maybe their value is only 3/4 or something like that. You know, and makes you wonder if we're ever going to get beyond all of this this crap in the world. But that's one reason why I make these videos. And you see a lot of this bad stuff going on, people killing each other and all that sort of a deal. And anyway, I mention a lot of these things and sometimes get a little bit more specific. And one of the reasons why I do this is, you know, you talk about this philosophy from Asia, from China, and this yin and yang, what they say, or even it's in the Bible, like to what is it? Maybe to have light, there must be darkness. To have good, there must be evil. So there must be some kind of an opposing force of that. And then if you put out a lot of this bad news and talk about these terrible things, maybe it makes you more grateful for the fact that you don't have to experience all of that. And you know, a lot of bad things happen to us, and we complain. And then sometimes when you think about the things that these other people, like the Palestinians, or you know, even for generations of these Russians, you know, always getting attacked by the West, and you know, that some people have it much worse than you do. And like Palestinians, a lot of them have rebuilt their homes 3 times because they've been bombed by the Israelis. And as you see, Iran is not making a nuclear bomb, but they have to have some reason to be bombing. I don't even understand why. I guess maybe it's Israel. They want to be the big cheese, obviously, and everybody knows that. But well, what do they have to fear from Iran, and why don't they just make friends with Iran? I really, a lot of time I don't understand. You know, there must be a better way. But who am I? Who am I? Anyway, okay. So that's about all I have to say for this video. It's less than 30 minutes. Well, it's going to be 30 minutes by the time I actually close off. I don't think I'm going to make another one today, but. Well, as I said, it's therapy. Maybe you guys can use some of the bad news as therapy as well. So just like Vladimir Putin saying, you know, turning sanctions into something positive, and you can take bad news and maybe have it help you as therapy. Maybe, like I said, knowing, or at least trying to realize your life is not as bad as a lot of these other people that have to live through wars and things like that. And Belarusians should realize that, you know, their president here has kept this country out of war for the entire time. They said, he's been there 30 years, that's too long, he's a dictator. But no wars, and freedom, no big rapes, no big crime, nothing like that. So, perfect reason to hate the guy. Anyway, just so you guys know. And I guess that's all I have to say for right now. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for the comments. And I appreciate you people for supporting my channel. And well, have a good Sunday. Bye bye.